Hello. So we are sharing this video in order to tell you about a few high engagement digital learning tools. At the end of this virtual teaching learning session, we expect the FAMER fellows to be able to describe 7 important DLTs, the strengths and weaknesses of these 7 important digital learning tools. The first we would like to talk to you about is the Kahoot. It is a game-based learning platform for quizzes and interactive sessions. It is a high engagement tool which uses gamification. It gives you instant feedback and analytics. It is very easy to use and can be accessed on any device. However, it is limited to MCQs and requires internet connectivity. It is also not suitable for all learning styles. The Mentimeter we are all very familiar with now, thanks to Dr. Rajkumari's presentation. So there is really not much for us to tell you over here, but it is we will just delve very quickly into the strengths and the weaknesses. So it gives you real-time interaction and feedback with a variety of question types. The weaknesses, however, are that the free version has limited features and can include only a limited number of participants. It is very, very dependent on the internet access at both ends, the teacher and the students. And also, it might not be suitable for all learning styles. The Padlet, this is an online collaborative board for sharing ideas. Some of you might have used the Google board, the Gboard. It is very similar to that. It encourages collaboration and creativity. And the free version has limited storage and it can become cluttered with excessive contributions. The use of the Padlet is can be done very well when you're taking a PBL session. It will increase the collaboration and also it will need the teacher to exercise moderation in order to make sure that the content remains relevant. The Zoom is a platform which we all know, so there is not much for us to tell you about here. Just that the breakout rooms are very great for small group discussions. The annotation tools, which are recent, not recent, but at least they've just come into the zone about a year and a half back. And these are very good for collaborative work. There is a whiteboard now in Zoom, which can be used further for the annotation tools. The Zoom requires very good internet connectivity. Otherwise, doesn't work. And uh, you can, the only problem is that if we are using the free version, each session is now then limited to 45 minutes. So that needs to be taken into consideration. The Google Classroom is what kind of saved the schools during the pandemic, and it is very well used by teachers who had steady students and like in primary schools and in secondary schools, it was used a lot. Uh, can be used by the higher educational institutions also. And it is a very good system for managing assignments and communication, particularly when you do not have an integrated LMS in your own institutes. It integrates seamlessly with other Google tools and can give assignment distribution and grading. It also allows for asynchronous learning and but it is completely dependent upon your Google account. So also it is limited features are there for the people who have a free account, and the people with a free account can not record the proceedings like we can do in Zoom. That is one big advantage of Zoom, that the entire proceedings can be recorded. Then we have the Flipgrid. So this is a video discussion platform in which we can share and respond to video prompts. This is very good because it enhances the verbal communication skills. It has got an interactive format and it allows for asynchronous participation. It is very similar to the Duolingo, which is used to teach languages. Only this is done with videos. Here it is that it requires the one of the weaknesses is that it requires access to recording devices, and also the video length has a limitation. Also, the videos that we are sharing might not remain private. A very good way to teach and learn is by podcasts. So the beauty of these podcasts are they are they can be carried around by the students and they can be heard asynchronously by them at whatever time is convenient for them. And this allows for teaching to be slightly more informal, and it works very well, particularly when we have interviews taken by the podcaster, and the interviews can be with somebody who is dealing with the subject in depth. And this is a very good way to kind of teach in a real life scenario, but in an informal setting. And one of the main things is that here the podcaster has to be perfectly clear about what is being taught, and the podcaster should also have ready all the questions that the podcaster wishes to ask the person being interviewed. Or if the podcaster is simply making a podcast, then it helps if you bring in different voices or play different clips in between, which can make the whole podcast extremely interesting. Otherwise, it will just be a dry version of a lecture. So this is very important that you take into account these podcasts. Uh, these were the seven high engagement digital learning tools that we would like you to know. And so these are the take home messages that you have to, we rather not we, you, we have to embrace the digital tools for classroom communication. And this will foster interactive teaching in the classroom. It will help us to harness the attention of the students, and we will be able to facilitate better learning and create a memory process which is crystalline rather than unstable. So we can incorporate several multimedia presentations to captivate the students. These will convey the complex concepts and stimulate active participation. These will help us to discover tools and techniques which are visually engaging.